Have you ever wondered how the most beautiful and powerful angel in heaven became humanity's greatest adversary? Lucifer, who once walked alongside God, fell because of his pride and ambition. In this video, we're going to dive into what really happened and how Lucifer's fall still impacts the world today. If you've ever felt like pride or self-sufficiency has pulled you away from your purpose, this story will open your eyes to the hidden dangers that might be shaping your life. Stick around until the end to see how this revelation could transform your spiritual journey. Lucifer wasn't just any angel. He was created with unmatched beauty and a power that set him apart from other heavenly beings. However, this position of honor sparked something dangerous within him: ambition. He began to crave more than what was given to him, and his desire to be equal to God ultimately led to his downfall. Lucifer didn't just want to serve, he wanted to be worshipped. And in that moment he rebelled, was cast out of heaven, and became Satan, the adversary. What started as self-admiration quickly turned into pride, and pride led to his destruction. Lucifer's fall teaches us a lot about the nature of pride. How often do we find ourselves wanting to be more than we should, or feeling superior to others? Lucifer lost his way when he put his ego above God's plan. It's easy to relate to this because pride, when unchecked, can creep into our lives in subtle ways. Whether it's at work, in our relationships, or in our faith, the temptation to always be in control, to be the ultimate authority, is real. And just like Lucifer, we risk falling if we don't understand the limits of our own ambition. Lucifer's fall wasn't just a personal defeat, it was a cosmic event that changed the course of spiritual history. He went from being an angel of light to the leader of darkness, dragging a third of the angels with him in his rebellion. This story shows us that evil doesn't start big. It begins with small seeds of discontent and envy. And just like Lucifer wasn't satisfied with his position, we often aren't satisfied with ours, always wanting more, always seeking something beyond what we've been given. The impact of Lucifer's fall wasn't limited to heaven, it also affected the earth. By becoming Satan, he took on the role of tempter, trying to pull God's creation away from his perfect plan. This transformation from an angel of light to the prince of darkness shows us that the choices we make have lasting consequences. Noah built an ark to preserve life, while Lucifer, in his ambition, destroyed his connection with the Creator. The lesson here is clear. The pursuit of power without limits can disconnect us from our true essence and lead us down destructive paths. Now that we understand Lucifer's fall and the central role pride played in his transformation, we begin to see how pride continues to be a powerful weapon today. In his new form, Satan uses that same temptation to influence hearts and minds, disguising self-sufficiency and ego as modern virtues. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next topic. Pride was the catalyst for Lucifer's fall, and it remains one of the most destructive forces we face today. Lucifer, once an angel of high rank and great beauty, wasn't content with the honor and glory he had already been given. He wanted more. His desire to be worshipped and to be recognized above all others led him to rebel. This pride blinded him to the truth that no one can equal God. In the end, what he thought would be his greatest achievement became his greatest downfall. Pride is a trap we often don't even realize we're falling into. In our own lives, it can show up in many ways, whether it's an endless pursuit of recognition or the need to prove we're better than others. This desire to be number one might seem harmless at first, but when left unchecked, it can pull us away from who we truly are. Lucifer's story serves as a powerful warning about the dangers of letting our ego take over. After all, pride has the power to disconnect us from our essence and, like Lucifer, lead us down a path of destruction. Lucifer didn't fall alone. He dragged a third of the angels with him, showing how contagious pride can be. Often, self-sufficiency and the desire for power don't just affect us, they influence those around us too. This makes us reflect on the impact our actions and decisions have on the people close to us. When we let pride lead us, we risk not only our own fall but also the fall of those who follow our example. That's why it's so important to recognize the warning signs and seek humility in every area of our lives. Pride, when left unchecked, has the power to disguise itself as a virtue. It can make us believe we're just believing in ourselves, when in reality, we're putting our ego above God's purpose for us. Lucifer's pride blinded him to the reality of his dependence on God, and that spiritual blindness led to his rebellion. Just as Lucifer was deceived by his own ego, Satan continues to use pride as a tool to pull us away from faith and make us believe we don't need God. The truth is, the more we strive to be independent, the further we drift from our true source of power and purpose. And so Lucifer's pride teaches us a vital lesson. Self-sufficiency and the desire to be above everything are dangerous illusions. Satan, now fallen, continues to spread this ideology, disguising pride and vanity as personal goals and achievements. He influences the world in many ways, and that modern influence is exactly what we'll dive into next. Although Lucifer fell and became Satan, his influence is still alive and well today. He operates subtly, spreading ideologies that, at first glance, seem harmless, but are actually extensions of his original desire to promote pride and self-sufficiency. Ideas like "just believe in yourself" or "you don't need anyone" are often presented as positive messages, but behind them lies the same strategy Lucifer used to rebel. He stirs up the human ego, making people believe they are completely independent of God. In his current form, Satan doesn't show up as a terrifying or monstrous being. He hides in the little things, like the messages we consume and the values we embrace without question. He convinces us that personal success and the quest for validation are life's main goals. How often do we find ourselves thinking our happiness depends entirely on us? This mindset, often disguised as empowerment, actually pulls us away from depending on God and the humility of understanding we can't do it all on our own. Satan manipulates these ideas to distance us from faith, promoting a culture of self-reliance that deep down disconnects us from our true source of strength. One of the clearest examples of this influence is in how the world glorifies success at any cost. We're surrounded by messages that tell us the key to happiness lies in personal achievement, status, and wealth. While there's nothing wrong with wanting to improve our lives, the problem arises when these goals become our only source of value and identity. This is exactly what Satan wants, for us to forget that our true essence and worth come from God, not from what we achieve. He plants the idea that relying on God is a sign of weakness, when in reality, it's our greatest strength. Satan also uses social media, entertainment, and even modern philosophies to reinforce the idea that we should do whatever we want, regardless of the spiritual consequences. This kind of thinking leads many away from Christian values, believing that freedom comes from following their own desires. However, the freedom Satan promotes is an illusion. Instead of liberating us, it traps us in an endless cycle of pride, vanity, and the pursuit of something that will never be enough. This influence continues to shape the mindset of many today, leading people to believe they can achieve everything on their own without needing God or any spiritual guidance. But that's not the only way Satan tries to steer people away from the path of faith. Music, one of the most powerful forms of communication, has also become a tool in Satan's hands to promote his ideologies. And that's what we'll talk about next. Music is one of the most powerful forms of communication, capable of influencing emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. In his cunning, Satan understood the impact music can have on the human mind, and has used this medium throughout time to spread his ideologies and lead people away from faith. The power of music lies in its ability to tap into emotions directly and almost unconsciously, which is where the danger lies. Certain music genres, lyrics, and even symbols are used to promote values that go against Christian principles, often without people even realizing what they're actually consuming. The influence of music goes beyond simple entertainment. It shapes cultures, attitudes, and even beliefs. That's why Satan uses it as a tool to normalize behaviors and ideologies that drift away from God. A clear example of this can be seen in lyrics that glorify pride, lust, violence, and self-sufficiency. When we hear messages that promote these values repeatedly, we start to accept them as normal. Music then becomes a subtle channel through which Satan plants seeds of rebellion, challenging what is sacred and promoting a culture of vanity and self-centeredness. Beyond the lyrics, the structure and rhythm of music itself can create an atmosphere that encourages impulsive and often destructive behaviors. Certain music genres are designed to provoke intense emotions which, when unchecked, can pull us away from the peace and calm that faith brings. And that's exactly what Satan wants, for us to be swept away by these chaotic emotions, leading us to make decisions without considering their spiritual consequences. Music, which should be a medium for worship and divine connection, is distorted and used as a weapon against faith. What makes this influence even more dangerous is the fact that we often consume music passively, without really paying attention to the content or message being conveyed. It's easy to think, it's just a song, without realizing the impact it has on our thoughts and attitudes. But just like words can build up or tear down, music has the power to shape our worldview. Satan knows this and takes advantage of our distraction, promoting his values hidden within catchy melodies and engaging rhythms. With that in mind, it's essential to be mindful of what we're listening to. Music is a gift from God, meant to glorify Him and build up our lives. However, like everything in the world, it can be corrupted and used for evil. We need to discern what we're hearing and how it affects our spiritual walk. The pride, vanity, and self-sufficiency promoted by certain music are just a few of the traps Satan lays in our path. But just as he fell because of his own pride, we can overcome this influence through faith and discernment. Now that you know Lucifer's story and how pride led to his downfall, it's time to reflect. How might that same pride be affecting your life? What areas of your life need more humility and connection with God? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's learn from this story together. And if you want to keep discovering spiritual truths that can transform your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming videos. And before you go, have you ever heard the real story of Noah and the flood? In our next video, we'll explore how Noah was chosen to save humanity and how God's covenant with him changed the future of the earth. Don't miss it.